Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Latched Mama podcast. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, the Latched Mama podcast is a podcast for moms and caretakers and parents who are truly in the trenches of motherhood. This week, we are celebrating Black Breastfeeding Week, and I am actually passing the mic over to Carmen and Deshanti, who are going to talk about, just some stuffs about breastfeeding and what it looks like for women of color. You're listening to Latched Mama Podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Wirt, busy mom of 6 and owner of LatchedMama.com. Join us each week as we talk about pregnancy, breastfeeding, postpartum, and all things motherhood.
Hi, everybody. My name is Carmen Mitchell, and this is
Deshanti Montgomery.
And we're here today at the Latched Mama podcast. Melissa and Lindy have handed the mics over to us. They've allowed us the time to be with you guys today and highlighting our voices for Black Breastfeeding Week, which I think is really, really cool.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, so we both work here at Latched Mama. I've been here for almost a year now. I work here in the warehouse doing fulfillment, and sometimes I try on clothes for the pictures that they take. I'm a mom of 3. I have an 8-year-old, I have a 3-year-old, and I have a 1-year-old. The 1-year-old comes with me to work, and I have exclusively nursed Luke, the baby. It was definitely a really challenging journey. The other 2, we did 2 months each child, and then we ended up transitioning to formula. But that we'll share more of that story later. What about you?
Yeah, so I've been working here for about 3 years now. You've probably seen my name on some of the emails. I work in the returns department, and I also take pictures sometimes. I've been breastfeeding for about, so I have my 4-year-old that I breastfed and my 2-year-old. So those 2 together totals up to about, I'm terrible in math, so.
How long did you feed them for?
Oh, sorry. So yes, I've breastfed them since they were born.
Okay, are they still nursing now?
Yes, my 2-year-old is still nursing.
Okay, yeah, you've been in it for a while.
Yeah, and it was challenging in the beginning as well. So I'm excited to go into detail about that.
Yeah, it's really awesome. Okay, what was the most surprising thing for you regarding your breastfeeding journey? Like, what did you not know going into it? Or did you know anything at all about it when you started breastfeeding?
So going into breastfeeding, I didn't realize how difficult it would be and painful. Yeah. Like, I think I cried both times with both babies. It was tough, but we got through it. And, after a while, you don't feel anything.
Did you have any reference point? Like, did the women in your family, did you have any help, any examples around you?
So my mother breastfed my baby brother, and that's about all. That's the only person I ever witnessed breastfeed in my family. So other than that, I think it was just me. So I had my mom as an example. She was there through everything. She kind of helped guide me. And yeah.
Did you get any pushback or comments or commentary from family?
Not from my family,
Okay.
But yes, I did get that a lot online. I did have other families or people, I've known question how long I'm going to breastfeed for. And, once I got past 1, they're like, I think in the Black community, they don't understand how long breastfeeding is. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have heard, when are you going to stop breastfeeding? Okay, he's too big now. He's too old now.
Yeah.
Dang, that's a grown baby. I've heard that a lot.
How are you grown and a baby at the same time, though? You can't be a grown baby.
Right.
It's a baby. Your 2-year-old, your baby is still breastfeeding.
Right, exactly.
For me, I had I hadn't seen it My mom didn't breastfeed. She very openly was like, you guys were on Similac from day one. I did not want to do that. I was not interested, but she gives me all the props. She's like, shout out to you for doing it. But like, that was not something that I was interested in doing. You guys came out fine. That was her whole thing.
Yeah.
You had Similac, you were fine, which absolutely, it was a lifesaver for me, for all of my children, because full disclosure, like if I left Luke somewhere, he's getting a formula bottle when I'm gone. Like, pumping is a whole, like, shout out to pumping moms. It's a whole thing that added even more stress. But no, I hadn't seen it, and so starting from scratch was like really hard. You don't know what you don't know, and like, unlike a bottle where there's like measurements, I'd be like, how do I know when he's done? Like, how do I know he's full or not? It was such a learning curve. And then my question to myself would be like, why am I doing this? It hurts really bad. Like, in those first weeks.
Oh yeah.
It was like, what is the purpose of this? Like, I know it's good for him, but I'm in pain, and I could skip this physical pain and just, offer a bottle so that I could navigate the emotional things and all of that. It was really challenging. My husband played a big role in supporting. What about you? Was that your experience?
Yeah, definitely. My husband was very supportive. So my whole thing was, I knew that I wanted to breastfeed and I didn't want to give up. The beginning was very hard. I think this is with my first child.
Okay.
With my first boy. So the first appointment after we left the hospital, his pediatrician was like, he's losing too much weight. You need to supplement with formula. And I was just like, oh no. I think I cried the whole entire appointment, but I was determined not. I think that's what really pushed me to continue to breastfeed. So once I got home, all the way up until the next appointment, I pumped around the clock. Like, I believe I was pumping every 2 hours. Like, I didn't get any sleep.
Okay.
And it was hard. But it really, by the next appointment, the doctor was like, okay, he's huge. Like, what did you do?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just feeding him.
Yeah.
And I did worry about how much he was getting, from that first appointment, what was said to me about, you need to supplement, and I didn't want to do that. So I just kept feeding him. Like, I didn't know what was too much and what was too little.
Yeah.
But I just know he was healthy.
So even you didn't let them like bully you into supplementing? I've been bullied into supplementing every single child.
Yes. Yeah. I just couldn't do it. That's what pushed me not to supplement, because
was this with your first?
This is with my first.
Your first child, and
yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, this is with my first. I was determined. Like, that broke my heart.
Okay.
To hear the pediatrician say, you need to supplement with formula, because I already knew I didn't want to.
Okay.
Like, I wanted to be successful in breastfeeding my child.
Yeah.
So I pushed through it, and he was literally the chunkiest baby. Like, after that, he was so chunky. I didn't hear that anymore.
That is amazing. For me, it was a lot harder. I had breast reduction surgery like several years ago. So my like breast tissue is already like compromised, and I've got some like nerve damage, and they did like a whole like nipple replacement and everything. So it can be like an uphill battle for women who've had like any type of breast surgery or breast augmentation. So going into this pregnancy, I knew that this is what I want. I want to breastfeed my child. Like, I want that, even if I have to supplement, I want that to be like the main source of his nutrition. This is something that I feel like I can do. My last child, my middle child, honestly, postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety were just so heavy at that 6-week point that breastfeeding was such a trigger for that we stopped, and it was the best decision. I don't regret it, but this time I decided like this is gonna happen. So I was calling around to find like an IBCLC who are just like the most knowledgeable for different scenarios like mine. And no lie, I interviewed one of them at like 38 weeks pregnant, and she told me that like my goals were unrealistic. She told me, she was like, what are your goals? And I was like, I want to nurse him in the hospital. I don't want him to have any formula in the hospital. Like I want to be able to provide the colostrum for him, which I had been hand expressing, had him in syringes. They were frozen, like we were ready to go. And she was like, well, you know, let's lower your expectation. She was like, in my experience, I've never had a woman who's had breast reduction surgery be able to successfully, like fully breastfeed her child. So like for me, that's all I need is someone to tell me I can't do it. And I was like, I'm doing this.
Right.
So I found a great team, like a great, amazing, there's an amazing IBCLC here who's also a pediatrician. Her name is Dr. Galati, and she's at VCU Health. And I was blessed enough to be under her care, and she walked me through the whole thing. My supply was very delayed in peaking, in meeting his needs. And she had me on a schedule of pumping and feeding. But she told me, she was like, hey, while we're building your supply, go ahead and give him formula, and that curve will meet. Like his need and your output will eventually meet, and you won't need formula anymore. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. I'm not doing that. Like, no, because if he has formula, then he's not taking the milk. And she was like, I hear you. If you want to pump all of that, you can. But like, if you want to give yourself a mental break while you meet, and it worked. Like I got one can of formula, and I was like, okay, this is all that we're using. And we used it, and my supply and his need at like 12 weeks eventually met, and it was amazing. And I think for me, it took like my stress level down, which impacts your supply level. And it's been a beautiful journey, mixed with like SNS, which is supplemental nursing system, which you took those beautiful pictures. If you're in the Latched Mama Love group, Deshanti's pictures are amazing. And
thank you.
It's tube feeding. So we've supplemented at the breast. We've done so many things to get to our journey. And now we're past a year. And Deshanti also did his 1 year photo. So yeah, it's amazing. But yeah, so what would you say about the Black community as far as like, do you feel like you see a lot of representation for breastfeeding moms? Like when you look at your timeline, are you seeing a lot of women of color breastfeeding? Are you see like what do you see and how do you feel?
I don't see that very often, and I think that plays a role in why Black women don't choose to breastfeed. Yeah, very often, I should say. Yeah. I think it should be pushed more, and we should see more Black women in pictures. And, you know, I think Latched Mama, of course, does an amazing job at showing that in our pictures, you know, online. Yeah. With our clothes. So I think that's something that really needs to be shown more on social media, just everywhere, different companies. We should really see more Black breastfeeding moms. Yeah. Because in the Black community, all I see is formula. It's just formula. That word, like to me, it's associated with Black mothers because it's pushed on us so much.
It's almost like an assumption, like an automatic assumption. Like with my first child, I think they just brought me formula to the hospital room. Like it was just like, oh, obviously you're going to use this. Exactly. So here you go. Yeah. And that makes it really, really hard. But like you said, like even the smallest things, like you see like a lot of graphics, like I follow a lot of motherhood companies and things like that. Like the graphics don't look like us.
Exactly.
The babies don't look like our babies. Right. Like those little things, I think they matter.
They do matter. Yes.
They matter a lot. Yeah. So how do your older kids like interact with you about breastfeeding? Like are they aware of it? Do you nurse in front of them? Like, how do they feel?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I nurse in front of them. I have a 7-year-old as well.
Okay.
And I have my 4-year-old who he's nursed, so he's obviously already seen nursing.
Okay.
So it's no shame at my house. I breastfeed. They know about it.
Okay.
I do think at other people's homes and in public,
Okay.
it can be like kind of weird because you don't know how they're going to react. But I've learned to just, it's a natural thing. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And over the years, I've just continued to breastfeed. I don't care who I'm in front of. And I think in the Black community, it can be weird to them as well, where they, they're like, you need to cover up.
Yeah. How do you deal with those things?
With things like that, it's just, it just really depends. Like if I'm at someone's house and they're just kind of looking a little weird or feeling weird about it, like I might go, somewhere else and do it.
Okay.
Just to be respectful of someone else's home. But if you're at my house, I'm, this is my house and you're just going to have to deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Totally. Yeah. I think I try to read the room, and I'm not saying you shouldn't have to. Like, there should be no reading the room, but I don't really like conflict or confrontation. So like you said, if it feels like a thing, if it feels like something that it's going to be awkward or uncomfortable for me, or like people staring at me creepy, like, I'll probably go somewhere else, go off to the back room or something like that. But I remember when I was like, in the early postpartum stages, we had visitors over, and like, I think it's just an old school thing, that it was like, is everybody decent in there? Are you decent? And I'm like, I mean, I feel like a decent human, but I know, like, what it's saying is like, are you covered? Like, is there anything exposed? But I remember that sticking out to me, like, it's a terrible thing to say. But I know it's like it's just like a old school like mindset.
It's definitely an old school mindset. Luckily my family, I don't have that issue with my immediate family. But just being around other Black families, I've heard it, and it is an issue. It's just like, I think it's a lack of education and just not having enough resources out there for Black families to understand the importance of breastfeeding, the beauty of it. Like, I really think that's a big thing. I think it should be pushed more to educate Black families, not just the mothers, but Black families, about the beauty of breastfeeding, and to just look at it differently, and not to look at it as
to take
such
the like sexualized.
Right.
I don't know.
To stop sexualizing it.
Like I do not understand where that comes from. So this wasn't my experience, but I have seen on different blogs and on stories, women talk about how like they were breastfeeding, maybe even extended breastfeeding, like feeding children over one, and their husbands wanted the baby to stop feeding because they wanted their wife's boobs back. Have you like heard that angle? And it was specifically like Black couples, and I was like, where did that come from? Like, where did we get that? Like, what is that?
Yeah, I do see that in a lot of groups on Facebook. I see a lot of moms talking about that. And I'm just like, that's so weird. Like, I don't know, just to look at it in that type of angle, which, that reminds me, like, with breastfeeding for me, like, I completely take the sexuality away from breast. Like, for me, it's, it's different, because I'm just more like, they're my babies. Like, he's eating, this is my baby's food right now. Like, so I can't even like tie it into sex, but that's just me. When I'm breastfeeding. So sexualizing breastfeeding in the Black community, that is very common. Like I said, I see it a lot in the mom groups that I'm in.
Same. Okay, I'm glad it's not just me. I see it a lot. It's like My husband said he wants his back. Like, I'm like, what?
No,
like that. Oh, that, like, no. No.
First of all, they're mine.
So there's body autonomy if we're
Right.
talking about that also. But yeah, okay. Yeah, that's very, very interesting. What do you think needs to change in order to increase the amount of Black mothers who breastfeed in our community?
I really think it comes down to the pediatricians, the gynecologists, doctors. I really think it's their job. And I don't think that they do, I mean, no offense, but I don't think they do a great job at, like I said, educating Black mothers or, just encouraging them. It's always supplement with formula. And I don't like that. I think that needs to change.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think that it's really important I think that formula is a really, really great tool because not everyone is able to provide breast milk to their children. But I think in that there has been this, like, I know what I heard all the time, which was the least helpful for me when I was like 100% dedicated to breastfeeding my child was, remember, formula is okay. Like, there's nothing bad about formula, which is totally true. But when someone is telling you that, like, they totally want to do this thing, constantly reminding them that there is another alternative is not helpful. Like in my experience, it just wasn't helpful. You mentioned pediatricians and gynecologists. It reminds me of a story that kind of highlighted that I think we still need to work on, like the cultural sensitivity training of side of breastfeeding. We were going to a lactation appointment and my husband attended all of my lactation appointments with me, and we did not get our usual doctor, IBCLC, and this individual came in and looked at my husband and said, "Wow, you stuck around. You're a keeper. Like, you're here. You're still here." I was floored.
Yeah. That's
I'm sorry.
crazy.
You mean my husband? Yeah, he's still here. Doesn't have a choice. Like, he's like, I was speechless. And I contacted the hospital and I let them know, and we talked to our normal care provider and gave feedback, which she was really glad that we did. And she said, like, hey, we need to know about these things because that is part of our learning. And she mentioned that, like, they had just recently, like, changed the language to include, like, chest feeding as well. But she was like, but also, like, being very sensitive to, like, there are certain things like you cannot say. You just cannot say, and you need to have a sensitivity when you're saying things to people and really think about what you're saying, because it felt for me that you were insinuating that my husband was a boyfriend or just my child's father and not my husband. And it felt really icky. I didn't like it.
Yeah. And I completely understand that. That's something, that needs to be considered more when people are talking to Black women. Just things that can be said can come off and rub you the wrong way. So that the sensitivity thing is definitely a thing.
Did you, I know this isn't like directly related to breastfeeding, did you ever have any of those scenarios come up, like in childbirth or like when you were pregnant, where you felt like a care provider said something to you that they just might not say to anybody else?
Yes. I've actually experienced that recently. I was searching out a new gynecologist because my old one quit.
Okay.
And I loved her. But she quit. So I had an appointment with my new gynecologist, and I told her, me and my husband, we want to have a big family. And I told her that I was still breastfeeding. And her reaction, she was just like, what? She was like, why? Why are you still breastfeeding? Like, and this was before my son turned 2. He was still 1.
Okay, he was still 1.
And she's like, there's no nutritional benefit at this age. Like, you need to stop.
Yeah.
And she was like, and you need to get on birth control because kids are hard. She said, birth control. Yeah, she was trying to push the whole birth control thing on me. That's another thing that's pretty big.
Yeah, very.
And, you know, that didn't sit right well with me, and I didn't understand how a care provider could say those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was not very supportive at all. It was like the opposite of what I wanted to hear.
Yes, I agree. The birth control thing, and I wonder, I don't know about other communities, but I know that me and my friends as Black women have a lot of the same stories regarding birth control being like forcibly like pushed constantly. And I'm curious if that is across all communities. But with Luke, I know I'm pregnant with my babies ASAP. Like I know like the day after we conceive because of my cycle. And I went to the doctor to ask for some blood work. Like, hey, I need to confirm this. I'm not feeling great. Can you confirm the test? Because the test was so light. Like I peed on the stick and didn't say anything because like it had just happened. No, like we don't do that. Like just you're fine. Do you want some birth control? And I felt so small. Yeah. Because I'm like, do you think like I'm some teenage girl who doesn't know my body? Like I have 2 children already. I'm coming to you telling you that I believe I'm pregnant. I'm asking for you to do the blood work. She's like, no. There's no way like you would know so soon. Like I can write you a prescription for birth control. And the nurse wouldn't give me the test. And I made us think about it. And so I ended up getting the test. And that same nurse had to call me back with my positive pregnancy test results. Yeah. But she gave me a prescription for birth control. Really? And she wouldn't hear me. She wouldn't hear. It feels bad. It feels like somehow, you know, that there's this narrative that Black women, we have too many kids. Yes, definitely. You know, that we, you know, the government is taking care of. I'm just saying, like, this is a narrative that is out here. Yeah. Which is completely false. Yes. Completely false. I agree. But it feels really, really bad in those moments where you just feel small. Yeah. But also I think that you spoke to, you want to have a big family and you want to breastfeed your kids. You don't see that, and you don't see you represented anywhere, right? Like you don't see, how many times do you see like Black women with like big families breastfeeding all their kids? Like where do you see that example? Do you have people that you follow that look like that, or is it like you just out here like mapping your own journey?
See, that's just something that I want. Like I have a great husband. He's very supportive. And it's just something that we really want. That's just our lifestyle. And it's just what we want to represent and show other Black families that it's okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Today I went to my podcast app and I typed in mom, right? And I just want to listen to a podcast. I'm real funny about like voices. I want to hear someone's voice that I like. Like I don't like listen to everybody's voice. But I was like scrolling through and there's like no Black women. But like the ones that are there was not like the content that I was looking for. Like I wanted like cleaning my house and like playing with my kids and like you know what I'm saying, like just like being a stay-at-home mom or like a part-time working mom or like all of these things, and like you don't see it. You don't see it represented.
Yeah. And in the Black community I feel like it's frowned upon as well. So it's definitely not.
Yeah, if we talk about the stay-at-home moms and the yeah, that's a whole That's a whole, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been a stay-at-home mom?
It's been since, let's see, right before I had my first son.
Okay.
So that was in 2018. And I think I found Latched Mama in 2019.
Okay.
When he was 1. So, I was working a couple hours here. So still a stay-at-home mom, but just, now I'm a work-from-home mom. So I'm like basically a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's been a while, and I do remember one incident where my husband's mom and dad were like, does she work? And they were like questioning if I worked. And I'm just like, first of all, that's, none of their business.
Yeah.
I'm a stay-at-home mom. If that's what we want to do to raise our children, then that's our decision.
For sure. For me, the feedback was like, oh yeah. So when I started working at Latched Mama, so I was a stay-at-home mom for several years, simply by choice. Like, it just felt good for my family, and we were blessed enough. Like, I have to acknowledge that's definitely a privilege to be able to stay at home with your kids, like financially not need that other income. For us, when I stumbled across Latched Mama, it was like a great fit to work part-time, but I'd get a lot of like, oh, that's so great. You're going to have some of your own money now. That's so good that you're going to contribute.
I hear that a lot.
Like, that's great. You're going to be able to contribute, and, you'll have some spending money. Like, guys, I am not like locked away in a dungeon asking for $1 to go.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But I get it all the time. Like, oh, you have a little job.
Yeah.
You get some spending money, and it's frustrating.
It is very,
because we don't get to see that. We don't have that representation, that space of like, we can be stay-at-home moms. We can breastfeed our kids. We can do all the things. I am seeing like a bigger push for like social media has like not platforms, but I'm seeing more people of color doing like advocating for like gentle parenting and like more approaches that aren't traditionally like in the Black community. So that's cool. But I think there's a lot of space for growth as far as like stay-at-home moms, breastfeeding moms, and things like that. But yeah. Do you have a cute or funny story regarding your breastfeeding journey?
I might have to come back and think on that one.
Okay. For me, mine is my toddler said to me the other day that he wanted some chocolate milk. I was like, but we don't have any chocolate milk. And he pointed to my boobs and was like, Mommy, you're brown. There's your milk. Luke gets the chocolate milk, and I just thought that was adorable. And I was like, you're right. It is chocolate milk.
That is
adorable. What I'm saying? Kids are really cute. Kids are super cute. Well, then what is your favorite part then of breastfeeding?
I don't know. It's just like all of it.
All
of it. Like, I haven't pumped since like the first week of my second baby boy being born.
Oh, okay.
So I think just being able to breastfeed and
so no bottles. You are
bottles, right?
Oh.
No bottles. So even with my first son, I had cut the bottles out after we went back to see the pediatrician, and he was like,
he's big.
He's big.
Yeah.
So I cut out all bottles, and that's another thing that I didn't touch base on. I do hear a lot that you have to pump to keep your supply up.
Yeah.
And that's something that wasn't true for me. Like, I completely cut out pumping, and
in your supply.
Yeah, it stays fine. Still nursing, and I think that's one of the sorry, my words got tied up.
No, you're fine.
But I think that's one of the greatest things for me with breastfeeding, and what makes me happy is that I can just breastfeed and show people that I'm breastfeeding and it's okay. Like, I just want to bring awareness. Like, I'm Black, I'm breastfeeding, and this is what we do. We baby wear. We
we baby wear.
Yes,
all the time. It is baby wearing is like a life hack.
Yes, it is.
That is so good. Baby wearing is another one. Baby wearing, staying at home, breastfeeding, all of those things are like unicorns. To be like a Black mom to do those things are all like, people when they see it are like, whoa, what are you doing?
Right.
That's really good.
Yeah, I feel like we need to create more awareness and teach people that these things are okay for Black women to do, because they don't see it very often in the Black community.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree. You mentioned bottles. That reminds me. I got a lot of like, give that baby a bottle.
Yes.
That baby needs some water.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they can eat chicken.
Yeah, yeah. I've definitely
I'm
heard
talking
that a
at
lot.
like 3 months old. Like,
yes. I've definitely heard that a lot. Or even what's the one, the popular one? Put rice formula or what is it? Yes,
baby,
in their bottle to help them sleep better.
Yes.
Absolutely not.
Yes. Oh gosh. Yes. All of those things. Give them some water, put some cereal in their bottle. That baby needs some table food.
Right.
All of the things.
Yeah, or I have heard someone say, if they can talk, then they don't need to be breastfeeding.
Yes. If they can ask for it, they're too old. Or, yeah. Yeah. Oh, bless it. Well, this world, I'm sorry, we already passed World Breastfeeding Week. I guess it's World Breastfeeding Month. So this Black Breastfeeding Week, what is one thing that you would want to say to a expectant Black mother who's about to have their first child and wants to breastfeed? Like, what is one piece of advice that we can close with?
I would say do it. Don't get discouraged. Don't listen to, what other people say. Don't let anyone discourage you. Just keep your eyes on the prize and go for it. You can do it. And just don't give up.
I love that. And I think for me, I would say there are resources like the Google. Look it up. There are organizations, there are forums, there's free resources out there to help you be successful in your breastfeeding journey. You just have to search. They might not be right at your pediatrician's office, but you can do it. And what you're doing is phenomenal and amazing. Well, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was.
We're really grateful to Melissa and Lindy lending over their microphones for us. And we hope you guys enjoy the podcast. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.